Ever feel like you're leading a team of sled dogs all pulling in different directions?
Yeah.
Well, we're diving deep into aligned stakeholder management for product leaders
Oh,
to give you the reins to
yeah.
steer everyone towards that shared product vision.
This deep dive is all about giving you practical strategies to decode those tricky organizational structures
Right.
and build the kind of trust that turns stakeholders into your biggest allies.
The book kicks off with this fictional company, Helthex,
Uh-huh.
and a new director of product management
Okay.
named Irie, who's in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Turns out
Yeah.
the neat little boxes on the org chart don't tell the whole story.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You'll often find that the real power dynamics lie beyond the formal structure.
Interesting.
The book highlights these power players,
Yeah.
especially the ones who don't have product in their title,
Hmm.
wield huge influence over what
Yeah.
gets built.
So it's like a game of chess,
Yeah,
figuring out who the real power brokers are.
precisely.
Okay.
And it's not about playing politics,
Right.
but about understanding the landscape.
Okay.
You'll encounter dominant function leaders.
Okay.
Think the VP of sales in a sales-driven company.
Right.
Then there are the CEO whisperers.
Okay.
They might not have flashy titles,
Right.
but they have the CEO's ear,
Yeah.
which can make or break your product.
So how do we identify these hidden influencers?
Yeah.
Do we just start eavesdropping on conversations?
Well, there's a more strategic approach.
Okay.
Observe meetings.
Right.
Not just what's being said, but who's driving the conversation,
Right.
who's being overlooked.
Okay.
Look at how decisions are made. Is there a formal process?
Yeah.
Or is it more about who has the loudest voice?
Hmm.
That's your first clue to who holds the real sway.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But once you've mapped out these power players,
Right.
how do you win them over?
That's where understanding decision-making styles comes in.
Okay.
Bain and Company has this model. Direct.
Democratic,
I-
participative,
Uh-huh.
and consensus.
Right.
Each style has different needs and preferences.
So how do we figure out someone's decision-making style
Yeah.
without becoming a mind reader?
Pay attention to their language and behavior.
All right.
Someone with a directive style might say,
Okay.
let's make a quick decision and move on.
Right.
While someone with a consensus style will want everyone's input before moving forward.
Got it.
It's about adapting your communication
Yeah.
to resonate with their style.
It's not just about managing tasks,
Right.
but about understanding the human element.
Exactly.
Mm,
The book emphasizes building rapport.
right.
And this fictional scenario with Irie and Sparks,
Okay.
a power player obsessed with AI,
Right.
illustrates this perfectly.
Hmm.
Irie finds this unexpected common ground with Sparks,
Uh-huh.
a shared love for Jamaican coffee.
Okay.
This simple connection changes their entire dynamic.
So it's about finding those shared interests.
Yeah.
Those human connections. It's about relatability.
Mhm.
Finding that common ground that reminds us we're all human. Think about your own stakeholders.
Okay.
What are their interests?
Uh,
Can you create those shared experiences?
yeah.
Even virtually to build that rapport.
It's like turning those intimidating stakeholders
Yeah.
into actual people you can connect with.
Yeah.
But rapport is just the first step, right?
Absolutely.
You also need to earn their trust.
Trust has two pillars:
Okay.
credibility
Okay.
and reliability.
Yeah.
Credibility is about showcasing your expertise,
Right.
while reliability is about demonstrating ownership and dependability.
So how do we show stakeholders we know our stuff
Right.
without sounding like we're lecturing them?
It's about speaking your stakeholders' language.
Okay.
The book gives this example where Irie needs the CFO's buy-in.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on customer benefits,
Right.
she dives into the CFO's world,
Hmm.
understanding his financial concerns and speaking his language.
That's clever. It's like proving you understand their world,
Right.
their priorities.
Exactly.
But what about confidence?
Yeah.
Is it all about pretending to have all the answers?
Confidence comes from preparation and transparency.
Okay.
Anticipate their questions.
Right.
Be ready with your answers.
Right.
And don't be afraid to admit what you don't know.
Hmm.
People trust those who are upfront and honest about their limitations.
So it's actually more trustworthy to admit you don't know everything?
Yeah.
That's counterintuitive.
Think about it.
Hmm.
Would you rather work with someone who pretends to be a know-it-all
Right.
or someone who is open to collaboration and seeks input?
Yeah.
Transparency builds trust.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've covered credibility,
Huh?
but what about the other side of the trust cone?
Right.
Reliability.
Reliability is about proving you're dependable.
Okay.
It's about taking ownership,
Right.
not just executing tasks, but understanding the bigger picture,
Yeah.
mitigating risks, and being accountable for the outcomes.
So it's about understanding how your decisions impact different stakeholders, not just focusing on your own little piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. And it's about dependability.
Okay.
Consistently delivering on your promises.
Right.
Being responsive.
Uh-huh.
And staying calm under pressure.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Who would you rather work with?
Okay.
Someone who over-promises and under-delivers?
Mm-hmm.
Or someone you can always count on?
Dependability sounds like the ultimate superpower
Yeah.
in the world of stakeholder management.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
Understanding organizational structures,
Uh-huh.
building rapport,
Yeah.
and earning trust.
Hmm.
I'm sensing there's more to come.
You're right.
Okay.
We've laid the foundation.
Right.
But now it's time to put these principles into practice.
Okay.
We'll explore road mapping,
Okay.
navigating changes, and those
Right.
crucial moments when things go wrong. All in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, listeners.
Yeah,
We're just getting started with this stakeholder management journey.
absolutely. Welcome back to our deep dive into stakeholder management.
Last time we laid the groundwork,
Yeah.
mapping out the power dynamics,
Yeah.
building that all-important rapport,
Right.
and establishing credibility to earn trust.
Exactly.
But now let's talk roadmaps.
Roadmaps are essential.
Okay.
But remember,
Yeah.
they're not just about features and deadlines. They
Mhm.
should be focused on outcomes.
Okay.
What are we trying to achieve for our customers and the organization as a whole?
Right.
Think of it as a strategic narrative,
Okay.
a story that guides your product's development and
Right.
keeps everyone on the same page.
So it's less about a rigid checklist
Yeah.
and more about painting a picture of where we're headed
Uh-huh.
and how it aligns with the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a communication tool for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Stakeholders.
Okay.
Executive. Right.
Even customers.
Okay. But let's be realistic.
Yep.
Roadmaps can also be a breeding ground for conflict. You've got stakeholders pushing for their pet features,
Uh-huh.
deadlines shifting,
Yeah.
unexpected challenges popping up.
Right.
It's a recipe for tension.
It definitely feels like a constant juggling act.
Yeah.
How do we prevent those disagreements from derailing the whole roadmap?
Align talks about this concept called shallow alignment.
Okay.
Everyone seems to agree on the surface,
Right.
but underneath there are these unspoken expectations and simmering disagreements.
Okay.
It's like that awkward moment when everyone nods politely in a meeting,
Yeah.
but you know they're all thinking something completely different.
Oh, I've definitely been in those meetings.
Yeah.
So how do we get to real alignment?
Right.
Not just the surface level.
The book emphasizes conflict mining,
Okay.
proactively digging beneath the surface to uncover those hidden disagreements
Right.
before they blow up and sabotage your roadmap.
Conflict mining. It's
Yeah.
like we're product detectives.
Exactly.
What are some techniques for unearthing those lurking disagreements?
One technique the book highlights is open with a bad idea. Intentionally introduce a flawed proposal to encourage constructive criticism
Right.
and spark a more honest discussion.
Wait, so you're saying that starting with a bad idea can actually lead to a better outcome?
Yeah.
How does that work?
By presenting a proposal with obvious weaknesses,
Right.
you give stakeholders permission to voice their concerns and challenge assumptions.
Okay.
It creates a safe space for open and honest feedback because they're not worried about hurting your feelings or rocking the boat.
That's a fascinating approach.
Yeah.
It's like setting a trap for those hidden disagreements,
Uh-huh.
luring them out into the open so you can address them head on.
Right.
What other conflict mining gems should we know about?
Another great one is the challenge round.
Okay.
After you've presented your roadmap, give each stakeholder a chance to explain why it might fail.
Okay.
Encourage them to play devil's advocate,
Right.
poke holes, and really scrutinize the plan.
I love that.
Yeah,
You're essentially turning the tables and making them find the flaws,
exactly.
which forces everyone to think more critically and identify potential blind spots
Right.
before they become major issues down the road.
Exactly. Conflict mining is about embracing healthy debate and creating a culture where it's safe to disagree and challenge assumptions.
Right.
That's how you get to genuine alignment,
Yeah.
not just superficial agreement.
So once you've uncovered those hidden disagreements
Right.
and everyone's on the same page, how do we actually build a roadmap that works?
Okay.
Right? Because a roadmap is only as good as its execution.
Yeah.
Does the book offer any specific tips on roadmap construction?
It emphasizes that roadmaps are living documents. They need to be flexible, adaptable, and constantly evolving based on new information and feedback when it comes to the format.
Yeah.
The book suggests ditching those rigid timelines and instead focusing on themes, objectives, and outcomes.
So ditch the dates.
Yeah.
That's music to my ears.
Right.
No more scrambling to meet arbitrary deadlines.
Exactly.
But how do we keep stakeholders happy if we're not giving them concrete dates?
The book suggests using broader time frames, like calendar quarters or even a now, next, later format.
Right.
It's about focusing on the value you're delivering, not getting bogged down in specific dates. That might change anyway.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're setting a direction, not locking yourself into a rigid schedule, which is crucial in the fast-paced world of product development.
Exactly.
But even with the most well-crafted roadmap, stakeholders can still throw a wrench in your plans. They always seem to have new ideas, urgent requests, and a knack for changing things up.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Stakeholder alignment can decay over time, which is why proactive management and strategic communication are key.
Okay. Proactive management sounds like a good way to stay one step ahead of the chaos.
Yeah.
How do we actually do that?
Right.
Do we need to set up a stakeholder surveillance system?
While that might be tempting,
Yeah.
the book suggests a much more practical approach.
Okay.
An intake process for new product requests.
So it's like creating a central hub for all those stakeholder requests.
Yeah.
So they're not just flying around randomly, causing confusion and derailing our carefully laid plans.
Exactly.
Okay.
The book provides some helpful tips on designing this intake process.
Okay.
It's about asking the right questions up front to understand the why behind each request.
Okay.
Is this valuable? Does it align with our strategic goals? Is it even feasible?
So it's not just saying yes to every shiny new idea that comes along. You're actually evaluating each request based on its potential impact and alignment with the overall product vision.
Right.
Okay.
And this intake process does more than just manage the chaos. It sets clear expectations with stakeholders. They know their ideas will be considered, but not every idea will make it to the roadmap.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's about transparency and setting realistic expectations from the start. No more surprises.
Right.
No more last-minute fire drills.
Exactly.
Because someone's pet project suddenly became a top priority.
Yeah.
But even with a solid intake process, there are still going to be times when you have to say no to a stakeholder's request.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And saying no can be one of the toughest parts of stakeholder management. But Aligned offers some strategies for navigating these tricky conversations.
Okay.
It's about framing your no in a way that is empathetic, respectful, and focuses on finding alternative solutions.
So it's not just about dropping the no bomb and running for cover.
Yeah.
You're taking the time to explain your reasoning. Consider their perspective. And maybe explore other options that might better meet their needs.
Precisely.
Okay.
And the book emphasizes disagree and commit. Even if you disagree with a stakeholder's request. Once the decision is made, everyone needs to get on board and row in the same direction.
Disagree and commit.
Yeah.
That's a great motto for any team.
Absolutely.
So we've established a clear intake process. We've mastered the art of saying no gracefully. But what happens when things really go wrong? You know, when something completely outside our control throws a wrench in our perfectly laid plans.
That's where things get really challenging.
Okay.
And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore how to navigate those moments of crisis. We'll delve into cognitive biases, tough choices, and the importance of sticking to your core values, even when faced with unexpected obstacles.
This is getting intense.
Yeah.
Listeners, don't miss the final part of our deep dive where we tackle the ultimate test of stakeholder management. When things go wrong. Welcome back to the final part of our stakeholder management deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding those hidden power dynamics to building trust and crafting adaptable roadmaps.
But now comes the ultimate test. What happens when things go sideways? When unexpected external factors throw a wrench in your perfectly laid plans?
It's bound to happen.
Okay.
Despite your best efforts, sometimes external forces can completely disrupt your product vision.
Yeah.
In Aligned Helthex, that fictional company we've been following,
Right.
faces a major financial crisis.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
A financial crisis.
Yeah.
That sounds like a stakeholder management nightmare.
Yeah.
What happens next?
They're forced to consider some drastic options.
It's like selling the company
Okay.
or even abandoning their core values.
Wow.
It's a high-stakes situation.
Right.
And the book really digs into the emotional and psychological factors at play during a crisis.
So it's not just about making rational decisions, but also understanding the emotional side of things.
Exactly. Aligned highlights some fascinating cognitive biases that can influence our decision-making.
Right.
Especially when we're under pressure. For example, there's omission commission bias, which is our tendency to worry more about the consequences of actions we take than the consequences of inaction.
So we might cling to a failing product, even when we know it's doomed.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of what might happen if we pull the plug.
That's the gist of it.
Right.
It's like that old saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
Yeah.
And then there's cognitive dissonance, which is that mental discomfort we feel when we hold conflicting beliefs.
Right. Or our actions don't align with our values.
Okay.
It can lead us to rationalize bad decisions or ignore evidence that contradicts our beliefs.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's like when you know you should say no to that unrealistic stakeholder request.
Right.
But you end up saying yes because you don't want to disappoint them or rock the boat.
It happens all the time.
Right.
And these biases can be incredibly powerful, especially in a crisis.
Yeah.
The book offers some strategies for mitigating their influence.
Okay.
Things like seeking diverse perspectives.
Right.
Actively challenging your assumptions.
Okay.
And being willing to reconsider your initial beliefs.
So even in a crisis, it's important to stay open-minded.
Yeah.
And not let those biases cloud our judgment.
Exactly.
But sometimes you're just faced with impossible choices.
Right.
What happens when all the options are bad ones?
That's where kill criteria come in. Those
on.
predetermined conditions that would make you walk away from a product or even a company. It's about defining your non-negotiables, your core values, and being willing to walk away when those are compromised.
It's about having the courage to say, this is where I draw the line.
Exactly.
So in the book, what are Irie's kill criteria? What would make her walk away from Helthex?
Her kill criteria are tied to the company's original vision, the one set by the CEO, Liz. If the company abandons that vision, if she's no longer leading product management, or if she's no longer working with a team she respects, she's out.
Those are strong kill criteria.
Yeah.
It's about staying true to the product's purpose, her own role as a leader, and the importance of working with a team that shares her values.
Exactly.
So does Irie end up walking away? Does Helthex make it through the crisis?
I won't spoil the ending. But I will say that Irie's commitment to her kill criteria leads to some interesting twists and turns. It's a powerful reminder that stakeholder management isn't just about navigating day-to-day challenges. It's about staying true to your principles and fighting for what you believe in, even when the stakes are high.
It's about having the courage to walk away when your values are being compromised.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like stakeholder management can be quite the roller coaster ride.
It definitely can be.
But armed with the insights from Aligned and the strategies we've discussed in this deep dive, our listeners should be well equipped to navigate those twists and turns.
I hope so.
And ultimately create products that truly make a difference.
That's the goal.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Aligned, Stakeholder Management for Product Leaders.
It's been a pleasure.